Assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. When you look at the board, you will see these two words. The first one is zada, which means he increased or he added. The second, you will see zida, which means it was increased. On this side, you also see the word fa'ala, he did. And you see fu'ila, it was done. No doubt that here we have both the active and the passive voice. Which of these words are in the active voices? The first word you can see there, which is zada, it is in the active voice, he. So an example, you can say zada Muhammadun fihi, Muhammad added to it. So the word Muhammad there is coming. That is why we know that the word zada is in the active case or active pattern. While the zida there, it is the passive voice, whereby if you are using this, you will not need to mention the subject of the sentence, the performer of the action. You will only be mentioning the receiver of the action. And the receiver of the action, which is the maf'ulun bihi, the object of the sentence, now takes the place of the subject, and we call it the naibul fa'il, the agent of the subject. This we have treated extensively in the previous episode link placed above. When you look at the word fa'ala, the same thing. Fa'ala is the active voice, while fa'ila is the passive voice. What we shall be learning today is that previously we had learned that some of the words that we actually turned to their passive voices, they were words which have all of their letters as sound letters. Today we want to see what if sometimes we have verbs which have their middle letters. These verbs, we call them adjwaf, having their middle letters as sick letters. How do you form them into the passive voice? And this we have touched and brushed it a little. So today we want to bring a lot of examples so you understand better how to form words like zaro, qala, shama, and the rest of them into their passive voice. Now let's quickly dive into our Qudurus al-Lughat al-Arabiyyah, and we have here ta'ammal al-mithal lil-fi'l al-ajwaf al-mabni lil-majhul thumma akmil al-naqis. You are to study the following verbs. The following verbs, which are adjwaf verbs. What are adjwaf verbs? We have discussed them earlier. They are verbs, they are three-letter verbs which have their middle letter carrying ya or wa. Now we can see we have to study the following verbs that we see here. After studying them and seeing how their passive voices are formed from them, then we have to complete the blank spaces, doing the same thing that we have been shown here. Are we ready? Let's move on. We have al-madi. In the first column, we have al-madi, which is the past tense pattern, and we have al-mudari, the present tense verbs. On the past tense, we have qala. Qala, which means he said. The passive voice for qala, which is in past tense, will be qila, it was said. Qila ya Muhammad, it was said, O Muhammad. Qila ya Hamid, it was said, O Hamid. Somebody said. Who said that? It is not mentioned. That's why we use qila. Coming to the present tense, you see the word yaqulu, which means he is saying. Yaqulu, he is saying. So from this, you can see the word yaqulu, he is saying. This is also in the active case. To get the passive voice of this to be yuqalu, it is being said. It is said. Yuqalu, it is said. Yaqulu, he is saying. Yuqalu, it is being said. MashaAllah. Now the other word we have as an example is the word ba'a. Ba'a means he bought. To get the passive voice of ba'a, it becomes bi'a. It was bought. Bi'a li hadal kitab. This book was, bi'a means sold. Ba'a, he sold. Bi'a, it was sold. Bi'a li hadal kitab. This book was sold to me. I did not mention the performer of the action of selling. His name is omitted because the verb is coming in the passive voice. The present tense verb of this will be yabi'u, he is selling. Yabi'u kitab, he's selling his book. Yabi'u kutuba, he's selling his books. Now you to be yuba'u kitab. Yuba'u kitab, the book is being sold. Can you see? Now we have the following verbs and they do not have the ones in the passive cases. So let's check. The ones in the active case are called al-mabniyu lil-ma'lum, while the ones in the passive case are called mabniyu lil-majhul. Now we have the word sa'o. Sa'o means he drove, to drive, he drove. So it will be siqo, it is driven. That's why the Quran, Allah says in the Quran that wasiqa alladhina kafaru ila jahannama zumara. On the day of judgment, those who disbelieve, they will be driven. Allahu Akbar. I don't mention the drivers, but they are going to be driven. وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. So the word was siqa means it is driven. To drive something, it is driven. But the performer of the action is not been mentioned. So the present tense will be yasuku, he is driving. Yasuku Muhammad, Muhammad is driving his car. So if you want to say his car is being driven, you say yusaku for a masculine word. If it is for car, which is sayyaratu, to be tusaku sayyara, the car is being driven. MashaAllah. Now the other word we have is the word zara, which means he visited. He visited. I can say zara Muhammadun or zara Ahmadu. Ahmad visited his paternal uncle. So if I want to say his paternal uncle is being visited, I will say zero ammu. His paternal uncle is being visited. Was visited. Who visited him? I can say zero abi, my father was visited. Who visited him? I did not mention it because zero is in the passive voice. The present of this is yazuru. I can say yazuru solihu ahiba'a. The righteous person visits his beloved ones. So yazuru. If I want to say that the sick is being visited, I will say yuzarul maridu. The sick is being visited. Who visits him? We don't know. The next word is zada. Zada means he increased. It will be zida. The next is yazidu. He is increasing. Yazidu fil khair. He is increasing in good. I will say yuzadul khair. Good is being increased. MashaAllah. The last we have khofa. Khofa means he was afraid. Khofa min al-tan or khofa min al-hayati. He was afraid of the snake. So it will be khifa min al-hayya. The snake was being afraid of. And lastly we have the word yakhafu. He is afraid. This is the present tense. He is afraid. He has the fear in present tense. To be yakhafu and yakula anhu ghaiban. It was afraid that absent will be said about him. So you can see yakhafu. This is coming in the passive case. So now we understand how to form verbs, the adjective verbs which have 6 letters in their middle, into their passive voices for both the past tense and also their present forms. To quickly join this with it, this is the last exercise we're going to be taking today. This one, it is for us to simply read the following sentences and point out where the verbs are being used in their passive voices. This is going to be very easy. Number 3, we have أين الأفعال الجوفاء في الأمثلة الآتية. You are simply to indicate the verbs which are adjective verbs. What is adjective verb? Verbs which have their 6 letters in their middle. Number 1, we have become be at sayyaratuka ya Zubair. How much was your car sold, O Zubair? The word be at, this is a failed adjective. Next, we have be at bi asharati alafi riyal. It was sold for 4,000 riyals. So be at is also there. Number 2, we have huna tuba'u suhufu wal majallatu. Here newspapers and magazines are sold. Here newspapers and magazines are being sold here. So the word tuba'u, this is also failun adjective. Number 3, we have yuqalu. It is said inna hadhihi al-arda satuba'u bil mazad. It is said that this land will be sold in auction. It is said that this land will be auctioned off. So the word yuqalu there, yuqalu, which is from yaqulu, this is a failun adjective. It is said. And the word tuba'u, it is being sold, will be sold. So the word tuba'u is also failun adjective. Next we have ayukalu tamru amyuzan. Date palm is date palm weighed, or is date palm usually weighed or it is measured? Do we measure date fruit, or do we weigh it? You know, you have 2 types of measurements. We can decide to use the scale to weigh it, or we decide to measure it using the container that we have in measuring them, the mood and other things. So the word yuqalu is a fi'lun ajwaf, and the word yuzanu is also fi'lun ajwaf. And lastly, we have this ayah from the Quran of Prophet Tanzil. Surah Al-Mursalat, Allah says in verse 48 that وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ ارْكَعُوا لَا يَرْكَعُونَ. And when they are told that they should bow, they do not bow. When they are told to pray, they don't pray. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ. So qala, when he said, qala وَإِذَا قَالَ, and when he said. Now وَإِذَا قِيلَ, when it is said, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ, when they are told, when it is said to them, irka'u, bow, la yarka'un, they don't bow. Allahu Akbar. So you can see how these words change from their active voices to their passive voices. With this, we come to the end of this lesson. We ask Allah to bless our knowledge and make it more understandable than we have tried to present it. Until we meet again, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, and share it with a lot of more other people so they will also learn as we move on. Until we meet again, do not forget to press the join button to be part of our membership. Until then, Assalamu alaikum